George Russell's built a commanding championship lead over the first 6 races of the season, but his new teammate Oscar Piastri has struggled somewhat. He hasn't quite hit the heights we hoped he would, but that could be about to change now that he has all the up-to-date spec parts on his car. Hello folks, welcome to episode 72 of this career journey with Mercedes. We are gearing up for the Austrian Grand Prix. The hills will be alive with the sound of probably V6 turbos at this point still. I'm not quite sure what engines they're going to be running in 2026, but it'll be screaming racing cars, that's for sure. As I said in the intro, George Russell has built a commanding championship lead. He has a 51-point advantage over Lando Norris, having won the last 3 races. We had 3 different winners in the first 3 rounds. George, then Verstappen, then Leclerc. And Red Bull looked like they might be the team to beat, really, this season. But then we won in Imola and set that record straight. Then we dominated in Barcelona, winning the sprint as well. And then we crushed the opposition in Monaco, winning from 6th on the grid. A little bit of rain was there to help us out, but you know, we still had to get the job done. And now we head to Spielberg, where it's actually going to rain on Friday, but Saturday and Sunday look dry. In terms of the cars, Oscar Piastri now has everything that is as new as it can be, really. The latest parts are attached to his machine, and car analysis says we should be pretty good around Spielberg this weekend. We are best for top speed, 5th for DRS effectiveness. Who has the best for that? Is it Red Bull? No. Ferrari? Yes, Ferrari. Okay, so you don't want to give Ferrari DRS in that sense. And then high speed, Ferrari also the fastest, so they could be strong this weekend. Maybe Lando Norris finally gets that win, but we are 3rd, and we're going to be snapping at their heels. So, the fire in the factory has sorted itself out. Manufacturing has recommenced. And I thought just before we dive into the Austrian Grand Prix weekend, I'll show you the development of the drivers. So here on the right hand side you can see Oscar Piastri. He's learnt to corner a bit better, he's becoming more adaptable, and he's reacting better in the car, as is George Russell. Isaac Hadjar has not yet driven the car. He is now overall 80. He's slightly more adaptable. I think it's about time we give him some time in the car. So I think we'll do that this weekend and see if he can build on this small improvement that he's made and just give him a run out, essentially. So I'm going to get to that, get to practice, and then I'll see you for qualifying in the Spielberg Hills. Comfortably into Q3 then, and as you can see on the left hand side here, the order in Q2 was Mercedes, Red Bull, Mercedes, Red Bull. And George Russell's topped Q1 and Q2 after Lando Norris topped every single practice session. But as we well know, practice means nothing. So let's get a lap on the board. And we'll go first. Well, I was hoping to go first, but actually Charles Leclerc is going to give us a tow. And what we have been doing to keep Piastri just sort of in range with Russell is exactly this. Letting him follow him out of the pit lane and ideally picking up a slipstream. So I think we'll get a nice tow here off of Charles Leclerc. He's going to be very, very useful for us. So thank you very much, Mr. Leclerc. And we are going to set our first lap time. Verstappen isn't going to have the luxury of a tow, nor is Norris, but they might get in the way in terms of traffic, although Norris, a very good boy, staying out of our way. And Russell is the fastest man in the first sector by just a little bit over his teammate Oscar Piastri, and we are following Charles Leclerc, and we are purple in both of the first 2 sectors with George Russell. So here we go through the final corners. Of course, a very short lap in Austria, a 4.3 from Lawson, a 3.9 from Leclerc, and a 3.5 from Russell. And Piastri has done a 3.6. At the moment, we have the front row. Let's see what Verstappen and Norris get up to, and we'll get our final lap on the board as well. Okay, here we go. We've had a bit of a problem, I'll be honest, because I clicked Russell then Piastri, but they came out in the opposite order.
Track is all clear.
Track is all clear. I thought it was saying about drying up, but anyway, Verstappen think has just started his final attempt. So we'll keep the sectors up. That is a Ferrari behind of Lando Norris, which is only 6th fastest. Piastri not close enough then to get a toe off of his teammate. But at the moment, Verstappen not improving, nor is George Russell. But this is the final lap of Q3 new tyres phenomenon where no one goes faster. Except Charles Leclerc, who is setting personal bests in the first 2 sectors, as is Verstappen. Let's check in with Russell, who's not improving in either sector. Leclerc goes 4th. What about Verstappen? Has he done enough to get himself on the front row? No, he hasn't. Mercedes lock out the front row in Austria. It doesn't matter that George Russell has only done a personal best in the final sector. Piastri doesn't improve at all, but we have locked out the front row. Wonderful scenes here in Austria. Mercedes on top, and our domination continues. But now it's doubly so because Piastri's joining in on the fun too. All we need to do now is turn this into his first podium. Right, here's the top 10 then. Lovely sight of George Russell and Oscar Piastri, 1 and 2. Then the 2 Red Bulls who will be chomping at the bit to get a home victory. AlphaTauri, or whatever they're called by this point in time, with Yuki Tsunoda in 5th place. Lando Norris, who looked so strong in practice, only P6. Maybe he's going to do what we did in Monaco. But we have seen in the past around Austria drivers win from the middle of the pack. So it's entirely plausible. AlphaTauri, actually both cars in Q3 with Jack Crawford there too. Good effort from him. Pierre Gasly, only P10. That's not good for the Gasman. But what is good for us is a front row lockout. So let's set up the strategy and then we can convert that into a 1-2. We're ready to rock and roll here in Austria. And as you can see, George Russell on a fairly conventional 2-stop strategy. Oscar Piastri, I've gone a bit mad with. We're going to go soft, medium, medium, soft. We're doing a 3-stop with Oscar. I've spoken about this before, and with his lack of smoothness on the tyres, obviously it's difficult to make sort of standard strategies work and him be competitive. So I'm trying to circumnavigate that by doing an extra pit stop, but allowing him to be really fast the whole time. This could backfire, but the idea is he goes into the lead on a set of softs and pulls away, or goes with George Russell, and Russell essentially rear guns him, and then Piastri gets the undercut and hopefully then starts using DRS to come through the midfield, get a nice big undercut on everybody else. It just, yeah, he'll be on a set of softs towards the end, so he'll be quick to make up those positions that he's maybe lost, but we'll try it. I don't think we've tried a 3-stop from the start in any race so far. 71 races and we haven't tried a 3-stop as the plan. We've done multiple stops in a race, of course, through wet races and red flags, but never started with this in mind. So let's do a motor race and see what happens. Alright, a beautiful sight then in Austria. 5 red lights, all Mercedes front row. The lights are out, the race is on. George Russell away well. It looks like Verstappen might be getting the jump into 2nd position. Piastri, can he get up the inside of the Dutchman? No, he can't. He's having to back out of that. And the plan immediately is foiled, and Verstappen is on one here. He's looking for a way past George Russell. It's Piastri having to defend from somebody else. No, Leclerc is actually under pressure from Tsunoda. So here comes Oscar Piastri. We need to get him back into 2nd, then we can get him into the lead, and hopefully we can then make his strategy work. We'll get him driving in clean air, and that is Oscar Piastri, who is with DRS looking down the inside. They're balanced on the fuel with both cars.
So we need 300 metres.
And now Oscar might be able to find his way through. Here we go. We're jumping on board. He's going to have to go down the outside. Late on the brakes. Can we make it stick? No. So we'll need to come back and try this again. Although I thought he was going to send it there into turn 4. He didn't. And we'll have to settle for 3rd place for now. But by the end of this lap, Oscar is back very, very much in the fight, and he's looking for that way through. We'll deploy, see if we can find a way through. Here goes Oscar Piastri. This might be his best chance yet. He's alongside into the braking zone. Can we make it stick? Verstappen puts us on the curbs, but the drive with the soft tyres, Oscar Piastri into second position. Fantastic stuff. Now we need to get him into the lead and he can pull away. What is happening as well is these three at the front are pulling away from Tsunoda. So I think Russell will cede the lead at some point and then we'll just get him not to fight teammate and go with Piastri. So in fact it might even be now. Is he going to let him go? Oscar Piastri with DRS takes the lead. There we go. Lovely stuff. And now the strategy is coming together. And if they can work together, they'll move away from Verstappen, who is actually on a set of mediums. That's a possible problem strategy-wise. But as long as we get clear of these two, Stroll, Crawford and Lawson, so 3, I was thinking more the 2 on hards, then I think we'll be okay in terms of positioning ourselves for later on in the race. Get some nice clear air, at least with Oscar. Oscar Piastri makes a trip to the pit lane. Was that a bit slow? Yes, it was. 4.5 seconds. Not a big fan of that. And Oscar will depart the pit lane and exit in P14. So that's not ideal, but we'll just get driving in clean air and we'll get some DRS and start making overtakes. In fact, George Russell has now lost the lead. So our strategy might not be working out quite as we hoped. Verstappen on the mediums. He could do a bit of the donkey work now, in fact, in just pulling us along. So we'll get the DRS and that'll do nicely. Piastri has already passed Drugovic. Now he's sizing up the McLarens. It's just going to be an overtaking fest for the young Aussie. Is he just going to go round the 2 McLarens? I thought he was going to go round the 2 McLarens for a second. Here's Piastri. That's not an overtaking place. But he made it anyway. Never normally see overtakes into the penultimate corner in Austria. But look at this. I mean, in the immortal words of James Hunt, that takes big balls. George Russell heading to the pit lane then. He has got himself back in front of Verstappen. And he's going to ditch these soft tyres. He'll be back on them, not those exact ones, but a set of softs for the final stint of the race. And now it's a set of mediums. He has lost the position to Piastri, but that was expected. We'll get a nice undercut now on Verstappen. Whether Verstappen's doing a 1 or a 2 stop, I'm not sure. Well, there's your answer. He's doing a 2 stop, isn't he? He's about to put on a set. Is he doing a 2 stop? Surely the hards can't go to the end from here. Leclerc, what are you going on to? He's going on to set of hards as well. Unless they're going medium hard soft because that's all they had left. Lando Norris now leads this race. Where's George Russell? Is he going to be ahead of Verstappen? Oh, it's going to be super close. George Russell and Max Verstappen side by side, and George Russell just edges ahead. Crucial, absolutely crucial, because now we can pull away on the softer tyres. Going to deploy, because I don't want Max Verstappen anywhere near us, really. Oscar Piastri has got himself up to P2 and is closing in rapidly on Lando Norris, who's yet to stop. So our strategy now might just start falling into place. There are 3 different strategies at play in the top 3 positions at the moment. Well, ignore Lando Norris. The 3 drivers who were in the lead group at the start. Piastri's on a 3 stop. Russell's on a soft, medium, soft strategy. And Verstappen is either on a 1 stop or a slightly different 2 stop. So this is a very interesting race. Oh, Russell late on the brakes there. And Piastri now needs to drive in clean air. And Oscar Piastri retakes the lead, passing his former teammate Lando Norris. And George Russell is going to pass his Twitch buddy. DRS for both of them. And George Russell gets the move done. So now we need to work out how to... Oh, Lando, that was a bit close. So what we'll do, we'll get Oscar not driving in clear air. We'll get rarely defend onto both of them.
So you just stay online.
And then, oh, George has still got don't fight teammate on, so we'll just do this. Driving clean air for George, and then we'll just basically keep switching it around, I suppose. See if we can pull away. Okay, well, it hasn't worked because Russell has passed Piastri and just disappeared. He's a second and a half up the road now. Piastri's tyres are a bit knackered. I'm going to not deploy yet because we'll keep that ready for his next pit stop out lap. How much time do we lose? Let's just quickly check the reports. Pre-race reports. Time considerations. We lose 22 seconds under green flags. So that will drop Oscar back in P7, I think, ish. So maybe if we do deploy and we'll just make sure we get ahead of Crawford. George Russell has got a 4-second lead on Verstappen now. Is he trying to make those go to the end? Surely not. Surely not. That would just be dumb. Like, super, super dumb. In comes Oscar Piastri then. Second out of 3 planned stops. Lots of pit stop practice for the team in the pit lane today. 2.8 second stop. Not our best work. We haven't got ahead of Gasly, but oh wow, we are ahead of Lando Norris. Wow. We're ahead of Crawford as we wanted to be. And Oscar is ahead of Lando, who's on a set of hards, so we can just pull away. George has opened up a 5.5 second lead on Verstappen now. Tsunoda is still giving Leclerc grief for days as he goes round the outside attempting to pass. He might even go ahead here. Yuki Tsunoda passes Charles Leclerc. Look at that. Well, Leclerc is having another one of those days, and we are making best use of it. I mean, obviously our closest championship rival, Lando Norris, is 8th, for crying out loud, as Tsunoda pits. Leclerc will be fuming with that, and Russell is now half a second quicker than Verstappen. It's toing and froing at the front, and we are growing our lead, which is fantastic. Excellent. I love it. Oscar's losing a bit of time here behind Pierre Gasly, and I'm not a fan of it, but we're going to deploy, and I think we're just going to go around the outside of the Ferrari here. There we go. We got the DRS too, so absolutely lovely stuff. I was getting a bit concerned, and as soon as I cut the action, Oscar gets the job done. Things you love to see, eh? At the front, it's now 7.5 seconds our lead. Obviously, we're going to be stopping first, and Verstappen will go deeper into the race, so we could be a little bit exposed in the final few laps. But if we've got a cushion when we stop of 8.5, 9 seconds, it's an awful lot of time for Verstappen to make up. He needs to be much closer than he is, and he's still 0.3 slower a lap. Piastri is flying a 6.2, fastest man on track by a margin. He could be a real contender here for second, I'd say. I mean, is the win out of the question for Oscar today? Maybe. I mean, I think if they're running 1-2 and they're close enough, then I'm just going to let them fight, because Oscar's put himself in a position where he can. But we'll have to get to that first. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Okay, George Russell heading to the pit lane then. We've actually managed to run a lap longer than planned with George, which will be useful in our fight with Verstappen's in this lap. Wow. That I did not expect. And he's going on to a set of mediums. 2.4 second stop for George Russell. Beautiful stuff from the team in the pit lane. Well, I mean, unless our softs just fall off a cliff, Verstappen has come out in 7th place. Piastri's got a 7-second lead on George. We've got another yellow flag. I mean, imagine if there's a safety car just around the time where Piastri comes back in. That would be incredible. Could Oscar Piastri win this race? I'm not going to discount it. Absolutely not going to discount it. So if you're in Australia and you're watching, you might see Oscar Piastri win today. There's a distinct possibility. Oscar's in the pit lane, and that's Russell scrapping it out with Leclerc, who was trying to defend for his life, but it makes absolutely no difference. George Russell takes the lead of the Austrian Grand Prix and is now on his way towards
Watch the white line on
his
exit.
4th straight win, at least in Grand Prix terms. It'd be 5 wins in a row if you include the sprint. 2.7 stop time for Piastri. He's not had the service that George Russell's had today, let's be honest. That's disappointing. Well, the target now for Oscar Piastri is to get to P3. How far behind is he? So he's 4.5 behind Tsunoda, who's a second now behind Verstappen. I think he'll be on the podium. Whether it's second or third, I'm not sure. Verstappen has managed to find himself 12.5 seconds behind Russell. I mean, what are Red Bull doing on the pit wall? That is just bonkers strategy calls. Alright, Piastri has caught the squabbling duo of Tsunoda and Norris. Tsunoda's had an incredible race. I mean, if Piastri wasn't on this 3-stop, I mean, he might already be in 3rd place, but Tsunoda might have a legitimate shot at a podium. We might need to just send this with Oscar. I'm loath to go high overtake aggression because I don't want to smash into the side of either of these cars and ruin Oscar's day. But being stuck behind them will also ruin his day because he will have started on the front row and then finished off the podium. Although he's going up the inside of Tsunoda and forcing his way through. Absolutely love that, Oscar Piastri. And now we'll just smash past Norris. Fabulous. And it's just 4.5 seconds to Verstappen. So let's deploy and see if we can catch the Red Bull. Russell is just cruising out front. We don't even need to do anything with him. It's too easy for George Russell right now. Oscar Piastri's not going to catch Max Verstappen today because we've now got a VSC who has thrown it at the wall. Nick De Vries has crashed to the shock of absolutely no one. Here he goes and whee! Right, VSC ending. We've got 1 lap to go after this. So I'm just going to turn everything up for Oscar. He has got some traffic to negotiate. Where is Verstappen? Yeah, I don't think we're going to do this, but let's see. Oscar, how much time is he going to lose to this lot? He's got DRS, which is going to be a huge help, but I don't think he'll get to 1 second behind Verstappen. He needed to be given 2 laps, really. We're on the final lap. George Russell now starting the final lap of the race. We're just giving it everything with Piastri absolutely going for it. Just hopefully he doesn't chuck it off the road. Yeah, we're not going to be close enough, I don't think. Which is a shame. Because he deserves P2, I think. But a podium is still going to be a fantastic result for him. We'll look after the car from here. We don't want him to make a mistake. There we go. The podium is still brilliant for Oscar Piastri, but George Russell at the front. He's eased his way to victory today. Verstappen could have been a threat. The Red Bull strategy wasn't there. It didn't match us. And George Russell wins again. The 4th race win in a row for the Season 2 World Champion. And his ascent to double World Champion status is very much in flow. Max Verstappen finishes 2nd. Oscar Piastri gets his first podium for Mercedes. That's what we were here for. We were there when it mattered. The 3-stop gets the job done in getting him to P3. Without that virtual safety car, he might have just caught Max Verstappen at the end and made it a 1-2. But a 1-3 is a great result. And it's just all fantastic at Mercedes. Very, 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 very happy. And George Russell gets to celebrate once more. Don't know how many, that might be like 20 wins now he's got in Formula One. He didn't win in Season 1, but he's taken a lot of wins since then. There he is. He's teleported to the garage before going to the podium. Oscar Piastri on the podium. Things you love to see. We'll just concentrate on the right-hand side of the podium, lads and ladies. this bit here, you can't see that. This bit here doesn't exist. Although the home fans will be pleased with that because the Orange Army will have come to see Max do well, and obviously this is Red Bull's home circuit. But confetti and champagne for Mercedes. Victory is ours. And there's Oscar Piastri on the podium as well. Lovely, lovely stuff. They're jumping for joy in the garage, and if I could, I would also be jumping for joy, but I won't because it's 5 to 11 on a Saturday morning, and I don't think the surrounding neighbourhood need that, really. So, outside of Oscar Piastri getting his first podium, big shout out to Yuki Tsunoda for finishing P4. Someone did suggest to sign Yuki Tsunoda instead of Oscar Piastri, so maybe we pick up Tsunoda at some point, or maybe we just go and manage AlphaTauri or a different team and we sign Tsunoda. So let's wait and see. McLaren had a dismal day. Remember back at Australia where they were quick, they were on the front row, and Esteban Ocon finished on the podium. Nothing since then, nada. Yeah, that was disappointing. Constructors' Championship, then we pick up 14 points against Red Bull. 31-point advantage, and George Russell he now has a 61-point lead over Max Verstappen. I mean, George Russell is just becoming Max Verstappen, isn't he? He's just winning and pulling away, and it's far too easy. Piastri into the top 5. He's now 30 points behind Charles Leclerc, who has a race win and 3 podiums. Shows you that when Charles is on it, he's on it, but when he's not, he's just nowhere. And Lando Norris today was nowhere. He's been there or thereabouts, Lando, and just hasn't pulled it off. It's just pure Lando, isn't it? At the moment, he's there, but can't quite break that ceiling. And now he drops it to P3. But George Russell, just in such control of this championship. Let me know in the comments, once again, if you think this needs to go up to hard mode in the races, or if you're happy with it staying at standard. I'm happy either way, so let me know in the comments. Although you probably might not see that for a couple of races because I record these ahead. So yeah, let me know, and then we'll make changes as and when. Another fantastic result for Mercedes then, a 4th race win in a row, the 5th of the season. But I think the big talking point coming away from this is Oscar Piastri getting his first Mercedes podium. So leave a big thumbs up for the Aussie on the podium. Subscribe for 4 wins in a row, and hopefully another one coming, I think, at Silverstone. So it's the British Grand Prix next. We're going to Silverstone and we're going to blow the opposition away. I'll see you at the British Grand Prix. So goodbye for now.